Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman and music spent the next few hours wondering what just happened? Maybe she smiled more than expected. Maybe she seemed unusually engaged. Maybe there was a moment that felt different. Yet afterward, you convinced yourself it probably meant nothing. If you've experienced that before, you're not alone. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes many men make is assuming attraction will always be obvious when it happens. They, music, expect clear signals, direct statements, and unmistakable interest. But human attraction rarely works that way, especially when it comes to women. Music. The truth is that many women communicate interest indirectly, not because they are trying to confuse anyone, but because attraction often develops through observation before action. Long before a woman openly expresses interest, she is usually paying attention. Music. She notices how a man carries himself, how he speaks, how he responds to people, and how he makes her feel during interactions. While many men are waiting for a dramatic sign, they completely miss the subtle signals already happening right in front of them. This creates an unfortunate cycle. A man assumes a woman is not interested because she never says anything directly. As a result, he pulls back, becomes uncertain, or talks himself out of opportunities that may have actually existed. Music. Meanwhile, the woman may believe she has already shown plenty of interest through her behavior. Both people leave confused and nothing music progresses. What makes this even more interesting is that some of the men who receive the most attention are often the least aware of it. They are not walking around assuming everyone likes them. In many cases, they are so focused on their own doubts that they overlook the signs completely. In today's video, we're going to break down 8 signs that women often display when they feel deeply attracted to a man, even when they never say it out loud. Music. By the end, you may start seeing interactions from a completely different perspective. One of the biggest reasons men struggle to recognize attraction is that they often expect women to express interest the same way men do. Music. When a man finds someone attractive, his interest frequently moves in a direct direction. He wants to talk to her, spend time with her, or learn more about her. Music. His attention becomes focused on action. Women, however, often approach attraction very differently. Before they decide what they want to do, they tend to observe. This observation phase is where many important signals begin. A woman may notice how a man interacts with strangers. Music. She may pay attention to how he handles pressure, whether he listens well, or how comfortable he seems with himself. These details help create an emotional impression long before she decides whether to reveal her interest. Attraction for many women begins with awareness. They become aware of a man's presence, his energy, and the way they feel when he is around. This is why attraction can be difficult to recognize if you're only looking for obvious signs. A woman who is interested may not openly flirt. She may not immediately start conversations. She may not make her feelings crystal clear. Instead, her behavior often becomes slightly different around the man she notices. Her attention shifts. Her awareness increases. Her reactions become a little stronger than they are with everyone else. Psychologists have long understood that attraction often influences behavior before it influences decisions. In other words, people frequently act differently before they fully understand why they are acting differently. This is especially true when emotions are involved. A woman may not consciously decide to show interest, yet her body language, attention, and behavior begin revealing it anyway. Music. As we move through the next signs, keep one thing in mind. Attraction is rarely a single dramatic moment. More often, it appears through a collection of small signals that become meaningful when they happen repeatedly. Music. And the first sign is one that many men have experienced without ever realizing how powerful it actually is. The first sign is lingering eye contact. At first glance, this may seem obvious. Most people understand that eye contact matters, but what many men fail to recognize is the difference between ordinary eye contact and the kind that often signals attraction. The distinction is subtle yet incredibly important. Think about how people normally interact with strangers. Music eye contact happens briefly. One person looks, the other person looks back, and within a second or two, both move on. There is no emotional investment attached to the moment. It simply happens as part of everyday life. Attraction, however, often changes that pattern. When a woman feels drawn to a man, she may hold eye contact slightly longer than necessary. The difference might only be a second, but emotionally, it can be significant. What makes this especially interesting is that the eyes frequently reveal attention before words do. A woman may not be ready to start a conversation. She may not feel comfortable making her interest obvious, music, yet her attention naturally returns to the person who has captured it. As a result, eye contact often becomes one of the earliest indicators that something deeper is happening. Music. You may notice her looking in your direction more than once. Perhaps your eyes meet across a room and she doesn't immediately look away. Maybe you catch her glancing at you during a group conversation. Sometimes she looks away quickly once she realizes you've noticed. Other times she holds the moment just long enough for you to wonder whether it meant something. Psychologically, this happens because attraction increases awareness. People naturally pay more attention to individuals who create an emotional response. The mind becomes curious. It wants more information. It wants another look. Of course, eye contact alone does not prove attraction. Context always matters. But when it happens repeatedly, when it feels intentional rather than accidental, and when it is accompanied by warmth or curiosity, it often becomes one of the clearest signs that a woman is noticing you in a way she does not notice everyone else. Music. The second sign is proximity. This is one of the most misunderstood attraction signals because it rarely looks dramatic from the outside. In fact, if you're not paying attention, you might dismiss it as coincidence. Yet when a woman is attracted to a man, she often begins creating opportunities to be physically near him long before she openly expresses interest. Human beings naturally move toward what feels emotionally interesting. Music. We spend more time near people we enjoy. We position ourselves closer to those who make us feel comfortable, curious, or excited. Attraction often follows this same principle. A woman may not walk directly up and announce her interest, music, but she may repeatedly place herself within your environment. Perhaps she chooses a seat near yours during a gathering. Maybe she joins conversations you're already part of. You might notice that she appears in your vicinity more often than chance would seem to explain. None of these moments are necessarily obvious on their own. The real clue is repetition. When the same person consistently finds reasons to be nearby, it often reveals a level of interest that goes beyond simple coincidence. Psychologists have studied what is known as the mere exposure effect, which suggests that people tend to develop stronger positive feelings toward things and individuals they encounter repeatedly. Whether consciously or unconsciously, attraction often motivates people to increase those opportunities for exposure. Being near someone creates chances for interaction, familiarity, and connection. What makes this signal powerful is that it usually feels natural to the person displaying it. A woman may not even realize she's doing it. She simply enjoys being in the presence of someone who has captured her attention. As music, a result, she gravitates toward that person without spending much time analyzing why. Of music course, proximity alone is not proof of attraction. People sit near each other for many reasons. But when you notice a consistent pattern of closeness, especially when accompanied by other signs, it often suggests that you occupy more space in her thoughts than you may realize. The third sign is attention, not the kind of attention that comes from politeness or basic social courtesy, but the kind that reveals genuine interest. When a woman is deeply attracted to a man, she often gives him a level of focus that she doesn't give to everyone else. This is one of the clearest indicators of emotional investment because attention is one of the most valuable things a person can offer. Think about how people normally behave in group settings. Conversations come and go. Attention shifts constantly. People check their phones, glance around the room, or become distracted by other things happening nearby. Yet, when someone genuinely interests us, that pattern changes. Music. We become more engaged. We listen more carefully. We remember details. We pay closer attention to what is being said and how it is being said. A woman who is attracted to you may show this in subtle ways. She remembers small details from previous conversations that others would forget. She asks follow-up questions about something you mentioned days or even weeks earlier. During conversations, her body naturally turns toward you. Even when other people are speaking, she seems unusually aware of your reactions and contributions. What makes this sign so powerful is that attention requires effort. Music. People do not consistently invest mental energy into individuals who have little significance to them. The brain naturally prioritizes what feels important, meaningful, or emotionally interesting. Music. When a woman repeatedly directs her attention toward you, it often reflects more than simple friendliness. Psychologists often describe attention as a form of emotional investment. The more someone thinks about a person, the more likely they are to notice details about them. They become curious. Music. They want to learn more. They feel engaged by the interaction. Of course, some people are naturally attentive listeners, but when a woman consistently gives you more focus than she gives others, remembers the details that matter to you, music, and seems genuinely interested in your thoughts and experiences, it often signals that her interest runs much deeper than ordinary conversation. The fourth sign is mirroring. This is one of the most fascinating attraction signals because it usually happens completely outside conscious awareness. In other words, a woman often has no idea she is doing it, yet psychologists have studied this behavior for decades because it reveals an important truth about human connection. When people feel comfortable around someone, their behavior naturally begins to align. You have probably witnessed this before without realizing it. Two close friends sitting together begin using similar gestures. A couple sharing a meal picks up their drinks at nearly the same time. Music. People who feel connected often adopt similar body language, speech patterns, and rhythms without ever discussing it. This happens because human beings are naturally wired to synchronize with people they trust, enjoy, and feel emotionally connected to. Music. When attraction enters the picture, this effect can become even stronger. A woman may begin matching your energy level during conversations. If you speak calmly, she gradually becomes calmer. If you lean slightly forward while sharing a story, she may unconsciously do the same. If you smile, her expression often softens in response. Music. None of this feels planned. It simply happens because her attention is focused on you. What makes mirroring so powerful is that it often signals comfort and emotional safety. Before attraction can deepen, most people need to feel relaxed in another person's presence. Mirroring is one of the ways the nervous system communicates that comfort. It is a subtle form of connection that develops naturally when someone enjoys being around you. Of course, mirroring is rarely dramatic. The movements are usually small and easy to miss. That is why many men never notice it. They are looking for obvious signs while overlooking the quiet signals happening right in front of them. The next time you are having a conversation with a woman, pay attention to the rhythm of the interaction. Notice whether her posture, gestures, or energy seem to align with yours. When that pattern appears repeatedly, it can be a strong indication that she feels a deeper connection than she may be willing to express directly. The fifth sign is that her compliments become more personal. Most people think compliments are simply expressions of appreciation. But from a psychological perspective, they often reveal where a person's attention is focused. When a woman feels attracted to a man, her compliments frequently begin shifting away from surface-level observations and toward qualities that are much more meaningful. At the beginning of an interaction, compliments are often simple and predictable. She might comment on your shirt, your appearance, or something obvious that anyone could notice. While those compliments can certainly be positive, they do not necessarily indicate deeper attraction. Teatris. The real difference appears when her attention moves beyond what you look like and starts focusing on who you are. You may hear her mention your calmness, your confidence, your sense of humor, or the way you handle difficult situations. Music. She might tell you that she enjoys talking with you, appreciates how comfortable she feels around you, or admires the way you treat other music people. These types of compliments reveal something important. They show that she is paying attention to qualities that require observation and emotional investment to recognize. What makes this sign powerful is that personal compliments are rarely random. A woman cannot compliment your character, your energy, or your presence unless she has spent time noticing those things. Music. In many cases, these observations develop because she has been thinking about you more than you realize. Psychologists often note that attraction deepens when people begin appreciating qualities that go beyond physical appearance. Emotional connection grows when someone feels understood, valued, and genuinely seen. As a result, a woman who is attracted to you often starts complimenting music traits that reflect your personality rather than your appearance. Many men dismiss these compliments because they do not sound romantic. They hear, "I enjoy talking to you," or "you have a calming presence" music, and assume it means nothing. Yet those statements can carry significant emotional weight. When a woman begins noticing and appreciating the deeper qualities that make you who you are, it often signals that her interest has moved beyond casual attention and into genuine attraction. The sixth sign is that she keeps noticing you. At first, this might sound very similar to eye contact, but there is an important difference. Eye contact is a specific moment. Being noticed repeatedly is a pattern. It is the difference between someone seeing you once and someone unconsciously tracking your presence over time. When a woman is attracted to a man, her awareness of him often increases dramatically. She notices when he enters a room. She notices when he leaves. She becomes aware of small changes that other people completely miss. Maybe she comments on a haircut, remembers something you wore previously, or notices a small detail about your mood. These observations may seem insignificant, but they reveal something important. Her attention is consistently returning to you. Psychologists understand music that the human brain naturally prioritizes what it considers emotionally significant. When someone captures our interest, our mind begins monitoring them more closely. We gather information without even trying. We become more aware of their habits, their music expressions, and their behavior. This process happens automatically because attraction increases focus. You may notice this in social situations. Perhaps she seems aware of where you are even when she is talking to other people. Maybe she notices your reactions during conversations or responds to things you say long after everyone else has forgotten them. Sometimes she appears to pick up on subtle changes in your behavior before anyone else does. What makes this sign especially powerful is that it often operates below conscious awareness. A woman may not realize how much attention she is giving you. She simply finds herself noticing things because her mind has assigned you a higher level of importance. Music. Many men miss this completely because they assume attraction must involve obvious flirting, yet repeated awareness can be one of the strongest signs of all. People do not consistently monitor individuals who have little emotional relevance to them. When a woman repeatedly notices details about you, music remembers things others overlook and seems unusually aware of your presence. It often suggests that you occupy a much larger space in her mind than you realize. The seventh and eighth signs are slightly different from everything we've discussed so far because they often have very little to do with the woman directly. Music, instead, they reveal how attraction is influenced by the way other people respond to you and the energy you bring into social situations. These signs are subtle, but once you understand them, you'll start noticing them everywhere. The seventh sign is social proof. Simply put, women pay attention to how other people react to a man. This does not mean a woman blindly follows the opinions of music others. Rather, she uses social information to help form her own impressions. If people seem to respect you, listen when you speak, seek your opinion, or enjoy being around you, those reactions naturally become noticeable. You may find that other men treat you with a certain level of respect. They listen when you're talking instead of constantly interrupting. They introduce you positively to others. They value your perspective during discussions. These small behaviors communicate something important. They suggest that you have earned a level of credibility, confidence, or presence that others recognize. The eighth sign is what many psychologists describe as abundance energy. This does not mean having endless romantic options. It means carrying yourself as though your happiness does not depend on gaining approval from any single person. Women are often highly sensitive to this difference. A man who constantly seeks validation can unintentionally create pressure during interactions. By contrast, a man who appears comfortable with himself tends to feel easier to be around. He listens without trying to impress. He enjoys conversations without desperately trying to control their outcome. His confidence feels natural rather than forced. What makes these two signs powerful is that they often reinforce each other. When people respect a man and he carries himself with calm self-assurance, women tend to notice, not because he is demanding attention, but because he seems comfortable without needing it. And when attraction begins forming, those qualities often become far more compelling than appearance music alone. They create an impression of stability, confidence, and emotional strength that many women find deeply attractive. The final sign is not a behavior women display. It is music, something happening inside you. And surprisingly, it may be the most important sign of all. Many men spend years looking for proof that women find them attractive while completely overlooking the evidence already sitting in front of them. The reason for this is simple. People tend to see what they expect to see. If a man secretly believes he is not attractive, he often interprets every interaction through that belief. A woman smiles at him and he assumes she is just being polite. Music. She starts conversations repeatedly, and he tells himself she is friendly with everyone. Music. She remembers personal details about his life, and he convinces himself it means nothing. In music, each situation, the signal is present, but his own assumptions prevent him from recognizing it. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. The brain naturally looks for information that supports existing beliefs while ignoring information that challenges them. This means a man who believes he is undesirable can be surrounded by positive signs and still feel invisible. His attention remains focused on rejection while filtering out attraction. That is why awareness is so important. Once you begin understanding the signs we've discussed throughout this video, you start seeing interactions differently. You notice the lingering eye contact. You recognize the repeated proximity. Music. You pay attention when a woman remembers small details, mirrors your behavior, or offers personal compliments. You stop dismissing every positive signal before giving it a chance to mean something. Perhaps the biggest shift happens when you stop asking, "Do women find me attractive?" and start asking a different question. Am I paying attention to the signs that are already there? That simple change can transform how you experience relationships, music, confidence, and attraction. Attraction is not always loud. It is rarely obvious. More often, it reveals itself through patterns of behavior that quietly repeat over time. Music. The men who recognize these patterns gain something valuable. Not arrogance, not ego, but awareness. Before you go, I want to ask you something. If you watch this video all the way to the end, type "watch till the end" in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing who stays with me through the entire discussion. And while you're there, tell me where you're watching from today. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for more discussions on female psychology, attraction, confidence, and human behavior. And remember this, sometimes the biggest obstacle to recognizing attraction is not that the signs are missing. It's that you've never been taught how to see.